What do you think a father brings to the table that a mother doesn't?
My mom was she's like the head honcho of the house.
And crime is caused by unwantedness, and abortion reduces unwantedness.
I lived my life for things that my dad wanted me to do.
There really wasn't much I did with my father. He was a workaholic.
My father was an alcoholic.
Again.
Hey Dad, how are you?
So today I'm out here and the question I'll be asking is, what is your relationship like with your father?
When I was born, he was still in World War II. Didn't come into my life till I was 3 or 4 years old. Worked 2 jobs. Didn't have much tolerance for kids.
A little bit complicated. If you went to him for advice, he'd be like, yeah, you figure it out.
Are you a father yourself?
I have numerous children, roughly somewhere in between 30 and 45, because in my 20s I was a sperm donor.
I'm curious, have you met any of them? Or?
I have not.
I'm more of a mama's boy for sure. She carries a lot of the emotional weight in my life.
I talk to my dad almost twice a week, but I love my dad. He loves me.
Growing up, it was always something I lived my life for things that my dad wanted me to do.
How has that evolved though?
A few years, we weren't really communicating or talking. And so nowadays, he stops and listens to me.
I'm Jim Sexton. I'm a divorce lawyer in New York City. I've been practicing divorce law for about 22 years.
If you don't mind me asking, what was your relationship with your father?
My father was an alcoholic. Hardly spoke to me, but never laid hands on me, never abused me. This is a man who had all the men in his wedding party die in Vietnam, lost most of his friends in Vietnam, and then he got sober when my mom died. I finally said to him, listen, I'm done with you. She's dead. We don't have anything left to talk about, you and I. Never talked about this before in an interview.
When 1 in 4 American homes are fatherless, it's clear that it's a growing problem. And so Gen Z especially are turning to others for guidance, and some are providing that, but some have capitalized.
For all my young boys out there, you guys want to know why I'm successful? I never took a girl seriously, ever.
So I wanted to explore the impact of the fatherlessness crisis, not only for the next generation, but for past generations as well. But is this crisis just a symptom of a larger problem? And more importantly, how can I overcome my own struggles with my own father? I guess we gon' see.
Can you just give a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
I run an online space called The Tin Men, platform for discussing various political and social issues that impact men and boys.
Everybody needs to go and follow The Tin Men on Instagram. I absolutely love it.
You said that your mission is to essentially explore the forgotten gaps of the gender debate. Would you say that this fatherlessness crisis is a forgotten gap in the gender debate here today?
There's an interesting theory called Donahue-Levitt theory. In the 1990s in America, New York was having a massive violent crime surge, and a lot of criminologists were terrified, and then it went up and up and up and up and up, and then it came drastically down against all expectations, and everyone was falling over themselves trying to explain why. 2 economists, Levitt and Donahue, came along and proposed this very controversial theory, and the answer is probably women winning reproductive rights 15 to 20 years before. So instead of forcing a woman to have a child that she can't afford or doesn't want, that child has an increased likelihood of becoming a criminal later in life. And crime is caused by unwantedness, and abortion reduces unwantedness. Today, is violent crime also being caused by a lack of fatherlessness, a lack of committed fathers?
So if feeling unwanted is one cause for why people commit crime, having a present father can only help, especially when most crimes are committed by men. And so I wanted to ask the streets on what value a father has. What do you think a father brings to the table that a mother doesn't?
How to fix your car or something, or gardening outside. So we do a lot of the manual tasks together.
I don't know. My mom was she's like the head honcho of the house, and he's there for support.
My dad was the breadwinner. He's very stable, logical.
Well, it's sort of like, what does a man bring to a relationship? What does a woman bring to the relationship? When you find someone to marry, look at the relationship she has with her father, because that's her role model, and that's the relationship she's going to have with you.
So if the person you choose is not just your spouse, but possibly a future mother or father, fatherlessness doesn't just impact crime, but how people show up in relationships. And so who better to ask than a divorce lawyer about this?
You could be an excellent parent and just not be good at being a spouse. You might be mismatched with your partner. I mean, a lot of people choose their romantic partners between the ages of 18 and 30. Or you may be the type that you grow apart and you become more, dissimilar. I think the more normal reason why fathers are minimized, unintentional second-order effects of the boom in divorce, the boom in how much people work, and the impact that has on their available time for their families. It's a lot of things all at once.
And so whether due to divorce or absence, it's clear husbands and fathers have distinct roles and impacts. Mothers with absent or distant husbands are not only at a higher risk of developing antenatal depression, but fatherless children are also at risk. Girls without fathers are 8 times more likely to have teenage pregnancies, while fatherless boys often exhibit aggression, delinquency, and an increased likelihood of committing a crime. And so oftentimes having a father or not can either set you ahead or set you behind. And so I was curious to ask the divorce lawyer on what impact his alcoholic father had on his life.
The goal, I think, of fatherhood is to move things a little further. Maybe 6-7 months after she passed away, and he called me, I just want to let you know I've quit drinking and I'm going to AA. And I hung up the phone and I thought, you know what, you should give this guy a win on this. Like, he made progress.
And so we'll come back to the rest of his story, but man, that was inspirational for me to hear. Because as he said, if the purpose of fatherhood is to make progress, it made me think, what role can I play in improving my father and I's relationship? Like, what steps can I take now to move towards a better future, especially when I'm a dad myself? I was beginning to form an idea, but with a lot of things in my mind, from my daddy issues to now, since I'm full-time on growing this channel and our online presence, I was starting to get worried. But thanks to our sponsor Surfshark, I at least have one less thing to worry about. Surfshark VPN is like a mask that keeps me safe and private by covering up everything I do online, from checking my bank information to sending files. And not only does it keep me safe, it also allows me to virtually travel around the world while I'm physically doing so. I'm in Brazil right now, and anytime I need to access the best deals on Amazon, get cheaper flight tickets, or access American content on Netflix, it gives me access to the full power of the internet no matter where I am without compromising my online safety. And since one subscription allows access on unlimited devices, I also use the Surfshark antivirus feature to keep all my devices virus free. And so try Surfshark now with absolutely no risk and get 6 months free for using my promo code GEN or my link in the description below. And now, back to the video. I wanted to focus on exploring what's exactly causing this crisis.
I think people need to stop having children. They want to have kids as an accessory. It's expensive, and there is a lot of pressure on the man to bring money to the table, and that could be another thing that scares a lot of men.
Lack of strong marriages, the family unit isn't as tight anymore.
Has somewhat to do with women finding their ground and comfortable with being independent, which I think is a great thing.
And so when asking across generations, there's many reasons. But again, when 1 in 4 American homes are without fathers and Gen Z are turning to digital father figures, are they at least getting the guidance that they need?
Would you say that the problems that Gen Z are currently experiencing are explained by the fatherlessness crisis?
I do feel like a lack of positive male role models, especially in the media, is an emerging and increasing problem. And we've gone from Mr. Rogers, now we have like Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, basically clowns, poor reflection of masculinity, and fathers especially. I know in the UK the Advertising Standards Authority had to actually step in to ban adverts that routinely framed dads as incompetent.
So when this fatherlessness crisis seems like a symptom of a larger problem that's getting worse and worse, why aren't more people talking about it?
Why do you think this topic of male issues have become so polarized? And what impact has that had on being able to hold discourse?
The left have failed them even more so than the right. The right has in some way at least tried to take hold of the conversation, largely through people like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, and who I do not like. They are a symptom of a wider problem, which is how the left have sort of forgotten boys and men. And although there certainly are advantages to being a man, it's a bit more nuanced than that. Men and boys are increasingly conservative anyway, and women and girls are becoming increasingly liberal.
That's exactly right. With 44% of Gen Z women identifying as liberal compared to 25% of Gen Z men, this marks the largest gender gap since polling began in 1998. And the right is capitalizing on that trend. Republican Party candidate Vivek Ramaswamy has supported the importance of the nuclear family and the 2-parent household. And he has criticized American culture and government for pushing anti-family incentives. And many right-wing influencers and organizations are following suit. But if we're gonna look at it both sides, is this an attempt by the right to pander male voters, similar to how the left has targeted women according to George? Whatever be the case, clear that the issue is more complex with numerous factors rather than the simplistic perspectives of just blaming women. So the most important question is, what is the solution?
As a divorce lawyer, how do we fix this fatherlessness crisis?
From a legal level, people learn through fear and greed. They do the right thing because they're afraid of getting in trouble. So we have to create consequences for the serious problem of alienating children from a father or mother. I'm tired of men being bashed. We put men on the moon, for God's sake. Men are less often the primary physical parent who's a stay-at-home parent. Therefore, or they couldn't, or they're not as good at it. I don't think that's even vaguely true. All the research shows that children have better outcomes when they have substantial, meaningful access to mothers and fathers.
I'm curious, what is something that you did as a father that your father didn't to your kids?
We did everything with our kids, because there really wasn't much I did with my father. And in fairness to him, he was a workaholic.
How did fatherhood change you as a man?
Took the focus off of me, realized that my kids were essentially everything.
Fatherhood, it holds a mirror up to you. If you saw somebody drop their wallet and no one would ever see it, a lot of people go, yeah, just stick it in my pocket then. And if you say to them, what would you tell your kid to do? That's the real test of their morality. We give up on ourselves a lot faster than we give up on our kids.
So with that in mind, I was curious about the outcome between the divorce lawyer and his father and how I could apply it to my own struggles with my father.
About a year or two later, he was really a different person. He would send me text messages like, I'm so proud of you. And I remember I was like, yeah, f you. You want to have a catch now? You know, come on, man. Like, I learned how to not need that. And then I realized, like, yeah, that's my stuff. And that's not healthy to carry around. So I worked through it. We've developed in the last like 4 or 5 years now, since that, like, we have a very lovely relationship. I see him differently now.
Growing up, my dad was by no means an alcoholic or abusive. In fact, quite the opposite. He was always there for me and really gave me a great childhood. But like I'm sure some of you watching can relate, as I've gotten older, I've realized that I've never had that type of relationship that I've desperately wanted as a kid from a father. I call it lack of trust or emotional connection, but at a certain period, it's gotten to a point where I've developed resentment, where even a simple phone call from him was stressful. And in many ways, it's come a long way, but it's been 7 months since I've even visited or talked to him on the phone.
I hope now that when my own sons, if they become fathers someday, that they will move the ball a little further. Maybe they won't be workaholics like I was. It's never too late to, I think, become a better father or a better son. And I think there's real value in it.
Because if the goal of fatherhood is to continue moving things along, then what the hell was I doing as a son to make that happen? Because things will always get busier and busier. But if we're too busy to even talk to the person who's raised us since I've had in my diapers, what kind of father am I gonna be when I have kids?
Again.
Hey Dad, how are you?
How are you? Okay, happy holidays. Where are you?
I'm in Brazil right now. How's everything?
Okay, how are you enjoying there?
Good.
Good. I've been following your activities. And how are you guys getting along there?
Good. Everything's been good. Yeah.
Okay. And what's going on now?
No, just wanted to call. I haven't talked to you in a while, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just kidding. But you going to aren't you going to El Salvador?
Yeah, I think maybe next month. We'll see.
Okay. It's not kind of up in the air. You can go anytime you want.
I mean, I guess now, yeah, I don't have a job. just doing this full time, but yeah.
How do you like that freedom?
I mean, it's great, but I mean, obviously it's also more pressure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody I talk to, they think you're just great. You have the winning formula. I mean, if you reflect on what you have achieved, I mean, my God, how many of you at your age have succeeded what you have done? I just want you to know that I'm proud of you because you're very honest with yourself.
If you want more unbiased journalism, sign up for my free weekly newsletter called Bridging the Bias, where we tackle the latest news stories and interesting research to help you navigate these unfamiliar times. And if YouTube gets it right, then you'll like this video too.